Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. We saw in the last class someone coming and telling high tide has come. And Sri Ramakrishna, who was sitting with motherly affection in the mother's bhava, taking the rakal on his lap, leaves everything and starts running to see. And at the sight, the master and the devotees ran to Panchavati to see it. At the sight of the boat being tossed by the tide, Sri Ramakrishna explained, "Look, look, I hope nothing happens to it." This is the concern of God for the world. Everything Sri Ramakrishna does, in small way at least, we must imbibe in our lives to feel for others. We may not be able to help, but to feel we must. That is the way we manifest our inner divinity. Because God alone can do that. And when we do, we are identifying with God indirectly. That is the manifestation of divinity. God is divine absolute. We are within is the divine absolute. And we have not tried to express this divinity at our day-to-day life yet. But it has to be done. The whole thing is, how are you going to manifest divinity? Now you see Sri Ramakrishna feeling, oh, nothing happens to that boat. It is just being tossed in the tide. This much compassion, this much of kindness, this much of love for beings. What is Sri Ramakrishna seeing there? As if he himself is there in the boat. And that is absolute empathy. That is, I am putting myself in that place and experiencing. This is one extreme condition of Sri Ramakrishna shows where the about 80 to 90% will be manifest in the saints. When somebody was beating someone, Sri Ramakrishna says, and all these marks that a person was beating his wife, and Sri Ramakrishna looking at it, shouts, it's far off, but he is able to see, and all the hand marks of that person beating the wife is on his back. And somebody is walking on the grass, and Sri Ramakrishna is feeling the pain in his chest, total identification with that grass, total identification with the person suffering. Here also, you see the same qualities almost we see in saints. Sri Ramakrishna is showing 100% of identity with the others, where I have lost my identity totally in being that person. That much of absolute identity, that I am able to experience the same pain that other is getting. To the extent I am getting the hand marks of that person on my back. To that extent. At least 1% of that pain we must be able to understand. That makes us close to God and close to nature. Sri Ramakrishna is telling, look, look, I hope nothing happens to it. They all sat in the Panchavati. The master asked him to explain the cause of tide. They all sat at the Panchavati. The master asked him to explain the cause of tide. Because huge tides has come. They have run to see the tide. Tide is a force, a power of the nature. And when the person sees a huge tide coming, if he is a spiritual person, spiritual being, then he sees the glory of Divine Mother, the divine functioning in the world, and how the play of the world is going on. In a moment, he transcends the limitations and tries to see the divine behind the whole play going on. Sri Ramakrishna is to enjoy that, to see the divine and the divine play of the Divine Mother going on in these places, because it is nature presenting herself in different ways. The full moon when we see, the stars at night, the sunrise, the sunset, in all these places you will see the manifestation of divinity in and through nature. So here Sri Ramakrishna is eager to see these things because it is linked directly with the we must have a calm and pleasant mind all times and a simple nature. Then we will be able to participate. Still, Sri Ramakrishna is asking now, you see, they all sat down, saw the tide coming and enjoyed the presence of divine. Now Sri Ramakrishna is asking. They all sat in the Panchavati. Master asked him to explain the cause of tide. He is a schoolmaster also. Explain the cause of the tide. M grew on the ground the figures of the sun, moon, earth and tried to explain gravitation, ebb tide, flow tide, new moon, full moon, eclipse and so forth. Ramakrishna is sitting and listening. Master to him, stop it. I can't follow you. It makes me dizzy. My head is aching. Well, how can they know of these things so far off? Now, because here Master is presenting one of the highest ideals. The moment reasoning enters into his mind, it is to refuse. This is, he has developed himself in the a realm of faith and love. In faith and love, when heart is there, the reason doesn't work. When a person is emotionally upset, you give him any reasoning, you cannot convince that person. There is fighting between husband and wife. Children are not extremely disobedient and they are going their way. In such cases, totally upset heart, give them reasoning, they cannot accept. Brain doesn't work when the emotional upset is there. Or when the heart is working, brain cannot interfere. Similarly, when brain works, heart becomes silent. It cannot enter. And unless heart awakens and brain silences, you cannot enter into the world spiritual, nor serve the people. Because heart is the expression of Atman. Brain is a part of nature. Nature has given the vehicle to dissociate from the world and attach yourself to the divine. And the path to the divine is taken care of by the heart alone. Heart alone can enter into the spiritual realms. Nature has given a special skill to man, the intellect, to dissociate, to calm down, to love, to sacrifice. It should not be detrimental to the evolution of the jiva. Sri Ramakrishna says, stop it, because it's going to, many times we see in gospel, Sri Ramakrishna asking, yeah, you see many times, not once or twice, oh, don't reason, it will harm your bhakti. It will harm your path to God. How many times, again and again, he infuses that one. And here he is showing that it is not, he is not able to grasp that because of the powerful heart which is walking with absolute faith. Faith and love. This doesn't, love never accepts reasoning. Love is love. Similarly, faith doesn't depend upon the reasoning at all. The moment reasoning or faith dissolves, and reasoning cannot lead to the transcendental realm, cannot make you enter. It can maximum service there because it belongs to nature. Maximum service it can give is to detach and guide the path to spiritual world. So the whole thing is taken over later on by the heart, because heart is expression of the self, Atman, manifesting. My own being is flowing out as love, as faith. Reasoning, intellect is Panchajnanendriya, Panchakarmendriya, Panchaprana, Buddhi, Manas. Buddhi also belongs to the nature, from which we have to detach ourselves one day or the other to take up the path. And again this intellect, the divine providence will convert it, associate with the Chaitanya and make it enlightened buddhi to become the dhiyo yona prachodayat, the dhi which gives light in the spiritual world. Though it belongs to the nature, it loses all the nature of its by aspect of nature, like a red hot iron. The iron has lost all the properties of iron, becoming red hot. It's only fire now. Charcoal loses all the characteristics of a charcoal when it burns as fire. Like that, the buddhi becomes charged with the, later on, when we start entering into the spiritual world, we will see that the buddhi gets associated, becomes one with the Chaitanya consciousness, Shuddha, pure consciousness, Shuddha, to become itself a light to show the path of the inner world. So here we see Sri Ramakrishna, all these he is explaining moon, earth, gravitation, ebb tide, flow tide, moon, full moon, new moon, eclipse and so forth. Stop it, I cannot follow you. It makes me dizzy. My head is aching. Well, how can they know of things so far off? You see, during my childhood, I could paint well, but arithmetic would make my head spin. I could not learn simple arithmetic. Now, how could they know things so far off? Because they have trained their mind to work. They have not trained their heart to work. So they are able to enter into. And again he is telling, you see, during my childhood, I could paint well. But arithmetic would not be painting. Painting is again replication of the nature in its own way. To you, once a thing is painted, it becomes a symbol of the nature. There is no calculation. It's a representation. It is a symbol now. I paint a Divine Mother's picture. Now it reminds me of the Divine Mother. I paint a beautiful nature scene. It makes me enter into that field and experience that. Now, in representing, in grasping it, I am presenting it in again painting through painting. How much of conception of this one must be there in me. The sharpening of the intellect to merge in the heart. Intellect is merging in the heart. In painting, art is a thing wherein we merge the intellect in heart. Otherwise, painting will be like modern paints. Nobody will understand what it means. Painting must be immediately able to awaken your spiritual consciousness. So here we see slowly these ancient arts, if you see any art of the ancient times, you see music. Look at the modern music. Look at the ancient traditional music. Music calms down the mind, calms down the senses, calms down the body. Everything it is calming down. On the other side, everything is exciting the senses. Same music of the modern times. Same thing making the mind dizzy, what Sri Ramakrishna says. And another mind is being transcending the nature. When it becomes a symbol of nature, it tries to transcend the nature and go beyond. I could paint well, but arithmetic would make my head spin because calculation there. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. I could not learn simple arithmetic. To that extent, the heart is fully bloomed. To the extent the brain is not able to take over the small load because whole being is there. My whole being is there in the heart with nature and with God. A little less if I can spend in brain and much of it I can present to the world something. So it is totally there. Even simple arithmetic I could not understand. Means whole being has merged in the heart and heart alone. That is why everything, whatever he took up in any religion or anything we see, it takes him few days to attain, 3 days maximum to attain perfection in that field. How he weeps for mother. That longing, from where did it come? Can we get an iota of that longing? Because our hearts are closed, brains are active because of the modern way of living and teaching. The whole attention is how I will earn, how I will possess, and how I will enjoy. So brain, everything is work of brain. Heart is how I sacrifice, how I love, how I dedicate. These are all parts of this is essential part of the sadhana. Sri Ramakrishna returned to his room with the devotees. Looking at the picture of Yashoda on the wall, he said, "It is not well done. She looks like a garland seller." Each one has a particular nature. In what profession we enter into, that profession influences very strongly our nature and things. Now you see, the modern children you see, they are always attached and addicted to seeing cell phones. Whatever these games and play and this, that, what the youths are in some other world, but possessing this audio visual, each one's personality is totally guided by what he sees, what he observes, what far from the actual world in which we are living. Everything is interesting, capturing, taking away from the normal life. And you can see its effect on every mind, how it is working. Just see, because audio visual mind is captured by two important organs, ear and eye. They are very powerful instruments, and they are controlling the mind and creating nature within. It is gaining momentum, inner momentum. So their behavior always restless. There is no peace in any heart. Running. I want this, I want that. Why? The bliss is within, the joy is within. As if the object is going to give peace or joy. So this we see the same thing when we enter into the spiritual world. We need the other things. And here the garland seller is her face nature. One who is gardener, his eyes, his how it will be looking into the a carpenter, his looks, a goldsmith, his looks, how he observes. A goldsmith is working with minute things, extremely minute designing. Same architecture of the house, his designing is entirely, his mental structures are different. It is working at larger section of the things. Planning of a city, still larger. And all this, his nature, his moving actions, how small we can become, how large we can become. So, Sri Ramakrishna is giving, the painting has done, she looks like a garland seller. What are those characteristics of a garland seller? How she expects the people to take that garland. When we see a shoe polisher who sits he'll not look at anything. He'll be looking at the shoes of the people who are walking. He's not looking at the face at all. Whose shoe is dirty, whose shoe is... He's sitting there for polishing. The people are wearing what type of coat they are wearing, dress they are wearing, is indifferent to that. A tailor sitting, he'll be looking at where is his eyes fixed. So the garland seller, she will be a person coming, she will be looking what that person, where is he going. Immediately they recognize, oh, he might be taking the flower garland. The way in which the person comes, there is a function at home, he comes from the temple, he is going to a temple, his looks, he is this one. Immediately they recognize. Their eyes are already capturing that in the railway stations, the ticket collector will be standing. Exactly goes and catches the person who is going without a ticket. He is so experienced, the way in which the person walks, he looks around. From that immediately he can understand, oh, he is a culprit. So experiences. When the police people are unable to catch the thief or a particular case they are not able to identify, they catch hold of the thieves. They know exactly inside and outside of they immediately catch the thief because they are one with it. The garland seller is one with the garland purchaser. She is selling, but the purchaser is in her mind. She is, her whole world is moving in front of her. She is sitting as a one who is able to identify. What I am able to identify is within me. So she is in the bhava of a purchaser of the garland, not the seller. So her nature of seeing, looking, her eyes, her face, everything. And when the person who is going to purchase comes, her face beams with joy. Oh, one more garland mine is going to buy. These are very subtle things, but we must be able to, if you just go to the market place and see, each one's vegetable seller, fruit sellers, garland seller, all these characteristics you just observe, you will understand what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. Ramakrishna, looking at the picture of Yashoda on the wall, he said, "It is not well done. She looks like a garland seller." The master enjoyed a nap in the afternoon after his noon meal. Adhar and other devotees gradually gathered. This was Adhar's first visit. He was deputy magistrate and about 30 years old. So the master enjoyed a nap in the afternoon after his noon meal. A small nap. You see, those who are in spiritual world, who keep vigil at night for long hours, they need a short nap in the afternoon. One side it is natural, all beings are taking the cows that graze, the birds that fly. Afternoon they all take rest. It is a natural tendency. But these sadhakas and siddhas who spend the nights in contemplation of the God, they half an hour rest in the afternoon replaces about 2 to 3 hours of night sleep. They can spend lot of time with God in sadhana, or after that to play with the God they occupy the nights. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhrutavigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidhyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha.